Dan, there's a new phrase, and I think Kellyanne, who's as smart as a whip, I think that one was a mistake. That was a strikeout because somebody, well, I might as well do it, somebody's going to do it, alt-facts. It's not even going to be alternatives. It's going to be alt-facts. And you know what that means? Well, that's coming.
To say it was unfortunate is just put it mildly. This was a big mistake. Listen, we simply cannot, I don't mean journalists, I don't mean the White House per se, none of us can go into this world of alternative facts. Listen, 2 + 2 = 4. That's a fact. There's no alternative to it. Water runs downhill. That's a fact. It snows in Alaska. There's sand dunes in Saudi Arabia. These are facts. This idea of alternative facts, this is a propaganda tool. And look, you and I know that Ms. Conway is a very smart lady. And she didn't just offhandedly say this. They've made this point before. I don't think that even most of the very Trump supporters who really believe in him want us to deal in a world of alternative facts. Facts and the truth are as close as it's humanly possible to get to the truth, are at the very foundation of our democracy and dealing with an informed citizenry. We all know this. And I think we have to be very careful, not just those of us in journalism and not just the White House, that the public at large has to think carefully about this whole propaganda tool of alternate facts.
You know, I don't think you look on the opinion page to find out what time the movie is. There's certain things you just want the facts. You don't want to hear the opinion. You don't want to hear the commentary. You want to see the football game and end the commentary, but you want to know who won the game.
No chaser. You know, it's devolved from spin, this alternative facts. It's devolved into falsehood, which could be a lie. And it's your truth, my truth, and somewhere in the middle there's fact. We have this relationship, this friendly adversarial relationship that is based on trust and truth. And when you're talking about alternative facts, it makes you question. And it's all about the numbers yet again. And it's just the size that matters. And it's sad. And you don't use that room, that podium, to have a who's bigger match.
Well, speaking of the CIA headquarters, on Saturday, Donald Trump blamed the media for creating the impression he was feuding with the intelligence community. He said, "We made it up." Well, let's watch.
As you know, I have a running war with the media. They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth. Right? And they sort of made it sound like I had a feud with the intelligence community. And I just want to let you know, the reason you're #1 stop, it is exactly the opposite. Exactly. And they understand that, too.
Well, the fact is it wasn't the media that invented that feud. Donald Trump has repeatedly mocked and criticized the intelligence community. Back in December, for example, he rejected intelligence reports of Russia's meddling in the U.S. election, saying these are the same people that said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Well, by the way, they weren't. It was the neocons who said that. But anyway, after an unsubstantiated dossier that alleged Russia had compromising information about Trump was leaked, he said this.
I think it was disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that, and that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do.
That was kind of a Christopher Walken moment there. Why does he think the press is going to forget, or the people watching, that there wasn't this match of vitriol between him and the intelligence people for weeks?
Remember, he used to put intelligence in quotes every time he had to refer to them in a tweet. You know, I don't know whether he thinks he can just bluster his way through it, or maybe he just thinks by attacking the press he can undermine the credibility of the press even more, and therefore when there is critical coverage of him, people who support him be less likely to believe it. Even in cases like this, where you can show the clips, you can show the tweets that are at odds with what he's claiming now.
You were great today. I was watching the whole thing on television. Let me go back to Dan for a last thought. There seems to be something new in politics today, which is just run the clock. It's bipartisan. It's not partisan. Bill Clinton, you know, he had the problem with the intern and all that, and he basically denied it. He lied it, I guess you would have to say. And then eventually it came out, and it was by then too late. The public passion about it, the anger against him was gone, and he got through the thing. Trump would do this. You know, you'll say that President Obama is an infiltrator into the country. Nobody knew him in school. He's some kind of Manchurian candidate. candidate from Kenya. And then one day he just says, oh, he's American. He was born here. And everybody forgets about it. This thing about the tax returns went on and on and on. It was about some kind of audit that was supposedly going on. I don't know if there's ever been an audit or not. And then Kellyanne this weekend just casually says, oh, he's never going to release the taxes. Now, that's still a bit murky. But it seems like if you can run the clock now on a story as ridiculous and as absurd as it is, and then just say, well, I had enough of that stupid excuse. I got, as Frank Sinatra would say, it got me through the night. And then we just move on. When is the press going to be able to beat the clock beating, which is what goes on in politics now? If you lie for 3 or 4 months, then change your story, everybody forgets. And they seem to be winning at it. Your thoughts, Dan Rather?
I don't think they're winning at it, Chris. Short term, it may work. But this is where the role of the press gets so important. You know, the press needs to be steady, see its role as an honest broker of information. But when things like this happen, when he changes his tune, lies, there's no other word about it, about what his position, say, vis-a-vis the intelligence agencies, this is where the press has to be oak and iron, of continually pressing the point, demanding answers respectfully, but not settling for him to just operate this propaganda machine of, well, it doesn't matter what I said before, it doesn't matter. This is a vital role of the press. And I don't think that medium and long term that they can win the strategy of believing that they can just run out the clock, and I like your metaphor for run out the clock, by the way, just run out the clock by changing their story and just not letting the press do very much. We have to understand, those of us in the press and the public has to understand, that what Donald Trump has succeeded in doing in many ways, in his own mind he thinks he's succeeded tremendously, is to intimidate the press. And many of these things are designed to intimidate the press. And this is gut check time for the press, not to be intimidated, to say, give him nothing but cold steel or oak and iron when he does these things, but to always have respect for the office of the presidency. But when he outright lies, and you can use the word falsehood if you prefer, then he not only call his hand for that moment, but keep on calling his hand. And I think medium to long term, he either has to change his trash the press strategy, or it will hurt his presidency tremendously.
Dan Rather, thank you, sir. And Susan Page and April Ryan, a great conversation here. We've learned a lot. Coming up, millions of people took to the streets this weekend to protest the inauguration of Donald Trump, also to celebrate women's rights, I think. But where does the movement go from here? Can women channel the energy of this weekend into real action? We've asked that question. We're going to keep asking it. Where's the second act? There ought to be one. Plus, federal investigators want to know more about Trump's national security advisor and his contacts with Russia. This could be a big deal, and we're going to get the latest tonight. And Trump is making good on his campaign promise to scrap NAFTA and pull out of TPP. Much more from this busy first working day of the Trump presidency, all coming up here on Hard